Bankrupt meme stock favorite Revlon plummets after New York Stock Exchange delisting decision. The Wall Street Journal. Beauty goods supplier is off the big board after saying last week it was fighting to stay listed and protect shareholders. Revlon Inc. shares lost more than half their value Friday after the New York Stock Exchange made the beauty products company's delisting official, deflating a surge of market interest that followed it. Plus 415 chars. Taylor Swift surprises fans with Midnight's 3 a.m. edition, featuring 7 additional songs. Rolling Stone. Swifties. Y'all still up? Swift just released 7 new tracks, including some co-produced by Aaron Dessner, after teasing a special very chaotic surprise 3 hours after releasing her album Midnights. Taylor Swift kept the surprises coming by dropping Midnights 3 a.m. edition, an extended version of the LP that features 7 additional songs. Sui. Plus 2705 chars. MLB playoffs. Phillies lead Padres in NLCS Game 3 as Jean Segura makes up for crucial error with go-ahead knock. Yahoo Sports. The NLCS moves to Philadelphia all tied at 1. Yahoo Fantasy Football Forecast. Andy Behrens, Dalton Del Don, Matt Harmon, Liz Loza, Scott Panofsky. RSV. Other viruses push several children's hospitals to capacity. The Washington Post. RSV, a common cause of cold-like illness in young children, started surging in late summer, months before its typical season from November to early spring. Comment on this story. Children's hospitals are under strain in the United States as they care for unusually high numbers of kids infected with RSV and other respiratory viruses. It's the latest example. Plus 8510 chars. Myth busted. Formation of Namibia's fairy circles isn't due to termites. Ars Technica. Plants are ecosystem engineers that survive by forming optimal geometric patterns. Enlarge drone image of car driving through the Namib Rand Nature Reserve, one of the fairy circle regions in Namibia. 13 with 12 posters participating. So-called fairy circles, a bare reddish hue. Plus 5705 chars. MLB playoffs. Phillies lead Padres in NLCS Game 3 as Jean Segura makes up for crucial error with go-ahead knock. Yahoo Sports. The NLCS moves to Philadelphia all tied at 1. Yahoo Fantasy Football Forecast. Andy Behrens, Dalton Del Don, Matt Harmon, Liz Loza, Scott Panofsky. Belkin's MagSafe continuity camera mount is an easy webcam upgrade. The Verge. Belkin's new MagSafe accessory lets you attach your iPhone onto the top of your laptop so you can use it as a webcam with iOS 16 and macOS Ventura's continuity camera feature. And you might actually want to keep it on your phone, solving the issue of having to carry it around and remember it. By Mitchell Clark. October 21, 2022. 10:34 p.m. Coordinated Universal Time. Belkin's iPhone mount with MagSafe. Plus 4484 chars. Cramer's week ahead. Earnings season heats up and companies could keep flying, barring a severe slowdown. CNBC. CNBC's Mad Money host, Jim Cramer on Friday told investors that stocks will likely continue to do well as long as the economy holds up. CNBC's Jim Cramer on Friday told investors that stocks will likely continue to do well as long as the economy holds up. Many companies have battened down the hatches, so to speak, and prepped for a plus 3100 chars. Perspective. James Corden reminds us how not to complain at a restaurant. The Washington Post. James Corden, host of The Late Show, allegedly caused a scene when he had complaints at Balthazar. Of course, there's a better way. Comment on this story. James. I'm talking Corden. Of course. The late-night TV host and actor who got into hot water this week when the owner of Balthazar in New York accused him of Bay. Plus 3355 chars. Taylor Swift surprises fans with Midnight's 3 a.m. edition, featuring 7 additional songs. Rolling Stone. Swifties. Y'all still up? Swift just released 7 new tracks, including some co-produced by Aaron Dessner, after teasing a special very chaotic surprise. 3 hours after releasing her album Midnights, Taylor Swift kept the surprises coming by dropping Midnights 3 a.m. edition, an extended version of the LP that features 7 additional songs. Sui. Plus 2705 chars. Certain foods reduce weight and hot flashes in menopausal women by 88%. Neuroscience News. Switching to a diet low in animal products and fats, high in vegetables, and adding a serving of soybeans reduced hot flashes and increased weight loss in menopausal women by up to 88%. Summary. Switching to a diet low in animal products and fats, high in vegetables, and adding a serving of soybeans reduced hot flashes and increased weight loss in menopausal women by up to 88%. Su. Plus 4832 chars. Watch SpaceX stack its Starship mega rocket using giant chopsticks. Video. Space.com. SpaceX's Starship Ship 24 is once again atop Booster 7. SpaceX's chopsticks have been busy lately, and a new video shows them in action. The chopsticks are arms attached to Mechazilla, the launch tower at Starbase, SpaceX's facility in South Texas. M. Plus 2964 chars. Raptors at Nets. NBA full game highlights, October 21. 2022 NBA. Never miss a moment with the latest news, trending stories and highlights to bring you closer to your favorite players and teams. Download now. https://app.ly. Null. NASA's office hours. Scorn. IGN. Join NAS for 2 hours of Let's Play, interviews, guest appearances and more. Null. American Airlines is getting rid of first class on international flights. Jalopnik. The airline is keeping business class, which customers prefer, and which has most of the benefits of first class anyway. Flying overseas in business class or better is one of those things like getting the good seats at the game that, once you've done it, it's hard to go back to coach or the bleachers. Some luxuries. U. Plus 2348 chars. Terrifying close-up of an ant's face gives horror movie monsters a run for their money. Fox News. Nikon's 48th annual Small World Photomicrography competition featured amazing microscopic photography, including a zoomed-in shot of an ant's face. And it has the internet freaking out. It turns out that zooming in on an ant's face is an absolute nightmare. A close-up photograph of an ant was sent in as a submission to the 48th annual Nikon Small World Photomicrography Competition, a +3016 Chars. Graham asks Supreme Court to block his Georgia 2020 election testimony. The Washington Post. Graham, RSC, was ordered to appear before a grand jury investigating possible attempts by President Donald Trump and his allies to disrupt Georgia's 2020 presidential election. Sen. Lindsey O. Graham, RSC, asked the Supreme Court on Friday to block his required appearance before a Georgia grand jury investigating possible attempts by President Donald Trump and his allies. +3299 Chars. NYC announces first 2 monkeypox-linked deaths and gives virus a new acronym. NBC New York. What is MVP and why did NYC change how it refers to monkeypox? Here are the answers, and what we know so far about the 2 people who died. New York City health officials announced 2 monkeypox-linked deaths on Friday. The first fatalities linked to the virus in the 5 boroughs, though few details on the individuals were immediately a +1598 Chars. The Big Rip Averted, Pillars of Creation by JWST, Faster Than Light Jet, Fraser Cain. The Pillars of Creation revealed by JWST. It seems like Big Rip isn't happening after all. Black holes twisting spacetime into knots. Jets that seem to be go null. Lance McCullers Jr. injured by champagne bottle. MLB.com. Astros starter Lance McCullers Jr. has given new meaning to the phrase, champagne problems. Okay. It's just a little bit of swelling. Not a huge deal, McCullers said. Earlier in the week, we thought it would be beneficial to give me some days off. Let everything settle down and give me an +106 Chars. The Internet mourns the dog in Resident Evil 4 Remake. IGN. Capcom showed off a hefty chunk of gameplay from the upcoming Resident Evil 4 Remake. And fans noticed one key difference. Capcom recently showed off a hefty chunk of gameplay from the upcoming Resident Evil 4 Remake. And fans noticed one key, heartbreaking difference. In the original Resident Evil 4, there's an Adora BL +2785 Chars. Tesla stock could rebound in 3 months. Here's what it would take. Barron's. Tesla's stock has been in a tailspin. But if the electric vehicle maker is able to navigate a few bumpy months, it will be a signal that it's headed in the right direction. Elon Musk says that Tesla could someday be worth more than Apple and Saudi Aramco combined. First, it needs to get through the next few months before Tesla, ticker TSLA, reported third quarter +495 Chars. WWE star written off TV? Wrestling news. One of the top baby faces of WWE Friday Night SmackDown may be off TV for a while. Sheamus lost a match to Solo Sikoa tonight on SmackDown. There was the usual. One of the top baby faces of WWE Friday Night SmackDown may be off TV for a while. Sheamus lost a match to Solo Sikoa tonight on SmackDown. There was the usual interference from the Usis at ringside. +564 Chars. Rishi Sunak, Boris Johnson, Penny Mordaunt to frontrunners for UK Prime Minister, The Washington Post. Supporters of Rishi Sunak, Boris Johnson and Penny Mordaunt are competing for endorsements. Comment on this story. London after a chaotic spell packed with political crises. Britain finds itself right back where it was before with some of the same faces competing to become the country's Theatre. +7054 Chars. CDC is discussing using oral polio vaccine for first time in 20 years to stop New York outbreak. CNBC. The U.S. currently uses the inactivated polio vaccine, which is highly effective at preventing paralysis but does not stop transmission of the virus. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention is considering using the oral polio vaccine for the first time in more than 20 years to stop an outbreak in the greater New York City metropolitan area. +5527 Chars. How a single human hair nearly halted a SpaceX launch. Gizmodo. A strand of hair briefly disrupted the recent SpaceX Crew 5 launch, showcasing the perils posed by even the most innocuous of objects. Engineers quip that FOD is a four-letter word. But there's nothing funny about foreign object debris and its potential to trigger disaster. The incident happened on October 5 at around 10:25 a.m. Eastern Time. +7859 Chars. Jessica Pegula vs. Sloane Stephens, 2022 Guadalajara Quarterfinal, WTA Match Highlights, WTA. Watch the match highlights from Jessica Pegula vs. Sloane Stephens at the 2022 Guadalajara Open Akron. Subscribe to the WTA on YouTube. http://www.youtube.com. Null. Pokémon Go Halloween 2022 event. Part 1. Pokémon Go Hub. Pokémon Go Hub null.